I wanted to find more ways of making sustainable art. And then what ended up happening is I started to understand ways of making regenerative art instead of just sustainable art, and fell in love with permaculture and everything that it could do for my life and my existence. And it went way deeper than just building a piece of art, and actually like became its own art. So I'm Kym Chi, and I'm the founder of Giggling Chi Tree. I love it because even just saying it usually makes people laugh, makes people giggle, and it's all about permaculture design and doing regenerative creation, so really working with art and building regenerative and functional art forms, and then also creative education. I had no real connection to farming or gardening. I've always been really connected with nature though. I really was able to hone that when I was growing up, so I think in a lot of ways it came really naturally to want to be in the garden, but it was one of those things where I wasn't afraid to just like jump in and try things. And that's why I love permaculture so much, is because it doesn't make it scary to do something that you've never done before. The area is a community hub, and it's an acronym that stands for Arts, Recreation, Education, and Agriculture. And basically we want to have all four of those aspects recognized here in the space. The idea is that it's about collaboration and having different organizations come here and utilize the space to build community. Officially at the area, I am the garden curator and the market coordinator. So the garden curator role essentially is managing the garden, making sure that it doesn't fall to pieces and helping to coordinate the different organizations that are planting here. Any education that revolves around the garden, I would be booking and facilitating garden tours, running the garden volunteer program. I had a really unique opportunity here with the owners of the property, David and Catherine, kind of giving me a lot of creative freedom and not be so afraid of making any mistakes, which is really nice, and that's like a permaculture principle too. When I first started here, it was a total blank slate, and it was really neat to watch it all come together because people were so excited about it. I remember when we started digging and there was asphalt under the ground. We told everybody if they wanted to stop that they could, and everybody just kept going. And I would show up here on like a Sunday afternoon, and there would be people that just were like hanging out, and they were like, I want to like pickaxe and I want to help. And so then people would just like jump in the garden on their like Sunday afternoon to dig and to help make it all happen. So that was a really, really cool thing to see. So the farmers market, I was really passionate and still am about that. I think that it's silly for us not to have access to super local food. And I also think that even spanning out from fresh produce and meat, that I think that we should be able to source craftspeople and people who are interested in canning and making their own body products and doing all of these things like within our own communities. And one of the really cool things is there's been like a couple of people who, maybe not for this season but for next season, have actually told me that they want to start up their own businesses to be part of the farmers market, because now there's like a venue for them. Once we start to build that resiliency here and we get more and more people that are directly from the Ramsay and Inglewood areas, then people in other communities will start to see that they can do the same thing in their community. If things keep going the way that they do, we are like really gonna have to rely on our neighbors. And we might not be able to like have full access to our friend that lives on the other side of the city, and that we really need to start building that resiliency from like within first, and then kind of work our way out. Kind of like a fractal, I guess, or like a Fibonacci spiral. I always love like Rob, I think it was Rob that had said, he's like, we are the pioneer species that's going to like make the change in the world. And I was like, I love that so much. So during the festival season, I was invited to join this really amazing crew called Gaia Craft, and what they do is they create open source permaculture teaching tools. Some of the festivals I had up to 50 or 60 people taking part in my workshops and really reaching people. And the cool thing about doing the work at the festivals was I was also able to kind of help people connect with permaculture communities in their local area. Permaculture education is like the top priority for me. I love designing and I love consulting and doing the volunteer coordinating and doing all of that stuff, but the education side for me goes way above anything else. I'm just like sharing what permaculture can do and getting people really excited, and as a long-term goal would be completely reshaping the entire education system using permaculture. So it feels really deep and kind of heavy to have a goal that is that widespread, but I also feel like there's a lot of other people that are on the same page as me and either doing it in really similar ways or doing it in completely different ways, and so I really feel like it is something that we can accomplish. I've been getting a lot of different feedback from different permaculture people and teachers about permaculture education and certifications and different things. After doing a lot of research into this diploma program, I decided that it was a really good step for me. And so the diploma is through the Permaculture Institute of the USA. And what it is a 2-year self-directed study program. The other cool thing is that in choosing education for my diploma, I have to get a second permaculture design course, which I'm already doing, so that works out really well. But I also have to take teacher training. And so I'm gonna have like all of these extra certifications under my belt that will just help me to get into that education system in a much more powerful way and have that accreditation behind me that will allow for people to like recognize the importance of what we're doing. I started to get this feeling towards the end of 2011 of really wanting to go to COSM, which is the Chapel of the Sacred Mirrors, and it's Alex and Allison Gray's land. I really, really loved what they were doing there because their whole idea of the chapel is it's about connecting people with their own creative self-expression and helping them to see the value in who they are as an individual, but at the same time see a reflection of themselves in everything else around them, and how like we all are mirrors and we all are here to kind of like show each other things, and that like fits in with permaculture in a really cool way too, because it's like value diversity and embrace everything and find ways of integrating everything. So it's kind of like taking that to a more social level. I noticed that there's this course happening there in 2012 called Visionary Permaculture. And I read about it, and it's Delvin, who kind of was like the original person that kind of got me thinking about permaculture back in 2009, teaching it. What it involves is going to the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors outside of New York City 4 times, and I've done up to my second time. We just finished it a few weeks ago, and I'm going to be going back in a month. And it's just been the most amazing experience and really integrates for me how permaculture is art and how amazingly valuable it is to bring this to any kind of community space. Taking the PDC with Verge, at first I didn't really know how it was going to affect my life. By, I think it was like the 3rd weekend, I had sent Rob and Michelle this like super cheesy email that basically told them that they had given me the empowerment to recognize my way of changing the world. And by the end of the PDC, I realized that my entire brain had been remapped. Like, that's the way I explain it, is that like it changed the way my brain works and it will never go back again. And I can't emphasize enough how like the ethics and the principles just like really fused themselves into my entire life. And it's like, it's a way of life now for me. And I think it really like helped to make me a better person. Just taking like one step, you can totally like change the entire world. And one of my favorite Bill Mollison quotes is that once we start, we will know how to proceed. Permaculture gave me the courage just to take that first step and then let everything else like unfold in front of me and know exactly like what I needed to do to make the difference in the world. Sorry, I get a little emotional about it because it's pretty amazing to think about how like before I started permaculture, I did feel really helpless as someone who like feels the pain of like everything and the suffering of everything in the world, and felt like I didn't know what to do to like make it better. And permaculture, like it really like showed me the way that we can all take that action to feel empowered and like not feel helpless anymore. And so that was probably like the biggest gift that I could have received. And then being able to connect that to all of the other things I love in my life. Yeah, it's been really amazing. Sorry. I didn't expect that to happen. Yes, it is really serious. We're kind of like saving the world, but we can have a lot of fun with it, and we don't have to make it all like gloom and doom. It can be really exciting, and that I think is an emphasis of permaculture too, is that it is about the joy that it can bring you to make a difference in the world. And that, yes, we can recognize what needs to happen or what's not working, but we can take that and use it as an opportunity to grow.